Hi. We're from the Equality Redistribution Association. ERA. Hello. Hello, you. Hi. Let's finish this. We gotta finish this. To pick up where we left off on 23.4. If we want Web3 to make a good on the promise that it can materially improve the situations of everyone, italics, in the ecosystem, and not just a handful of people at the top, we need to design it according to principles that will make that happen, and on that we agree. Principles that will make that happen. Continuing. How do we decide what's fair? How do we decide what's fair? How? Epistemology, man. How? The how. Heck yeah. Do take an action. We, who is we, decide, make a choice, a volitional choice between actions, options, based on a system of things we value, not a veil of ignorance, on what's fair. All right, philosophers and thinkers have been debating for centuries how to best allocate resources among participants in a society. I don't want to get too deep, but I can't help it, man. I don't want to get too deep, but I can't help it, man. Philosophers and thinkers have been debating for centuries how to best allocate resources among participants in a society. The philosophers and the thinkers have been debating it. Meanwhile, the builders have been building it. For centuries, how to best here's the best way we should do it. And we know why, because we're philosophers. We know everything. I used to have a different impression of this philosopher king that Aurelius speaks of. That's another episode. How to best allocate resources, as if we, the philosophers and thinkers, know better than everyone else how this should be done, and you will listen to us. And principles in the use of force. The body of thought devoted to answering these questions is known as distributive justice. And there are varying schools of thought within this discipline. Distributive justice. How is justice distributed? Strict egalitarians. Strict egalitarians argue. Are they arguing, or this is their stating their premises? Strict egalitarians argue that the only just system is one in which resources are distributed absolutely equally. In other words, everyone should have the same amount of material goods. Everybody shares everything. The principle is rooted in the belief that everyone is morally good. Everyone is morally equal. It says here, equal. And thus deserves to have equal access to materials and services. Yeah, they do deserve to have equal access to materials and services. Equal access is in, they're not prevented from going into the library, right? Metaphysics in reality, The principle is rooted in the belief that everyone is morally equal. We are all equal. Our morality is determined by our actions. So no, we are not morally equal. We all start out tabula rasa. Morally is a result of our choices, of our ethics, of our actions. So we are not all morally equal. Someone who just shoots people and kills people is not morally equal to someone who creates value for society and then etc. Right? They're not morally equal. But we are all metaphysically equal. Not ethically equal, but metaphysically. And it's all mixed and schmagoshed in here. Luck egalitarians argue that what's important Their premise, what's important is equality of starting position, and that any inequalities that emerge after that point, we all start out equal, and that any inequalities that emerge after that point, we all don't end up equal, as if we looked at objective reality at this moment. And that any inequalities that emerge after the point in which you are born, anything from the minute you are born after, are justified by differences in merit. In the merit of the actions that you take towards values and morality and a broader purpose. Now, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't do it. That sounds pretty cool. Do you agree? Do you agree? Do you agree? I wouldn't call that luck again. I would call that reality-based egalitarians. People that just go to work. Libertarians argue that individual freedom should be the sole consideration. It should be the primary consideration. Yeah. Yes, it should be. Argue, again, libertarians' premise argue that individual freedom, okay, we start there. Individual, is that, we're all particulars, right? We're all individuals, right? Isn't that what we all are, right? Individual freedom, we all want to be free. So far, so good. Should be the sole consideration. So should it be a consideration? I think it should be a consideration. Do you agree? Sole consideration. And that any effort to redistribute resources infringes on that freedom. Hello, you. Hi. We're from the Equality Redistribution Association. ERA, the Equality Redistribution Association. How are you? You have a nice house. Can I come in? And that any effort to redistribute resources infringes on that freedom. If I'm going to take from you and give it to someone else, that's not an infringement on your freedom? Utilitarians argue that the most just system is the one that maximizes the sum of total happiness and well-being of all participants. Everybody is going to do good. That sounds fantastic. That sounds amazing. Utilitarians premise that the most just system is the one that maximizes the sum of total happiness and well-being of all participants. Everybody gonna get happy. Under utilitarianism, redistribution of wealth would be desirable because each marginal dollar, would do more to raise the well-being of a poor person than a wealthy person. What does that mean? It means this. You have more than this person. You have a $200 Starbucks gift card that you got from your grandma. else has a $2 Starbucks gift card. That was the remainder of a $5 gift card. They got a couple bucks on theirs. And yours is $200. This is saying that because $2 to you is a small amount, but $2 to this person is everything they got, that it's okay and it's desirable that we should take some from you and give it to them for the sheer fact that you have more, and you'll miss it less. And it's okay to take it from you and to give it to them. That is desirable, because then everybody is happy by us taking from you and giving to them. You don't need all that. We'll give some to them. Everybody will be happier. It's in everybody's sum of happiness. Be done with it. I just want to be done with it. I just want to be done with it. Because it's so flawed. I want to move on to what we need to be doing.